Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Sasuke back here with another deck list. This one is actually a deck list mainly because I decided to switch around the list, and of course, I did get some new extra deck monsters. Well, one in particular, which I'll get into in a bit. I do want to make a huge shout out to three people today. I want to give a huge shout out to my mother for getting me one of the extra deck monsters, which is my favorite in this deck. I want to give a shout out to my friend Mark Sanchez for helping me get my hands on an entire core of the Abyss actors. And then, of course, I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Ruben Gonzalez for helping me with getting the rest of the stuff that I needed. So, without further ado, let's get into this list. Of course, I've I've known I've played this deck for quite some time already, and I've grown quite fond of it. And a lot of people don't see it as a good deck, but once you start playing it, it's actually good. And of course, we are going to be upon getting the new support for this deck. Whenever I get my hands on it, I will be bringing you a pure Abyss Actor deck build, which will actually be even better than before. So, starting off with the three ofs on this actor lineup, we run the three of Abyss Actor Wild Hope. Now, Wild Hope is extremely good for his floating effect. Whether it's destroyed in his monster zone or in his pendulum scale, you get a search an Abyss Actor monster straight off the bat. Also, he allows you to change one Abyss Actor pendulum monster in your other scale. Change its scale to 9. You cannot special summon any monsters except for Abyss Actor type monsters. So, if you actually link before making his play, you can actually beat it over by specialing the monsters that are not Abyss Actor worthy, or that are not Abyss Actors, and then use his effect to pendulum summon those monsters that are higher. Now we play three of Leading Eddy, mainly for the damage effect. When anyone were to take damage while she's in the pendulum scale, if you were to take damage, um, you end up you can actually make your opponent's monster lose attack for equal to the amount of damage you took. Also, when she in the monster zone, anyone who were to take damage, they you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses attack equal to the damage equal to that battle damage. So anyone who takes damage, which is actually extremely good. Though I like her other effect as to when she's destroyed in the monster zone, you get to set an abyss script directly from your deck. So it's kind of like Superstar but different. Now the one that everyone is familiar with, which is the most versatile abyss actor monster ever so far, is the three abyss actor Curtain Raiser. Now Curtain Raiser is used in Pendulum Magicians, Pendulum DDDs, its own archetype, which I do believe its archetype sees better play for it. Because in its own archetype, it has so much ability. You can special summon this card from your Pendulum Zone, and upon doing so, as long as you control no monsters, and upon doing so, he he gains 1100 additional attack. Also, you can only use that effect once per duel. So he's an he's like he's there in the scale mainly like for when you need an extra summon and need to retrieve something from your extra deck. So his other monster effect is you get to send one abyss script from your deck to the grave and add one face up abyss actor pendulum monster from your extra deck back to your hand. You can only use this effect of Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser once per turn. So that's actually extremely good. Following up on the three ofs, we have the original 3 Abyss Actor Superstar. Now, she is your level 7 monster. She is the monster that you use to set your Abyss scripts once per turn, negate everything once she's summoned, negate all spells and traps, prevent your opponent from activating any spells and traps during that turn, and of course, upon once per turn, you get a set an abyss script directly from your deck. So that actually and destroy it during the end phase if you did not use it. So that comes in handy down the line. You never know how handy that comes. And trust me, it comes in handy a lot. Well, that's it for the right. So I only run two ofs this Abyss Actor lineup, which is the 2 of Evil Heal. Now I run Evil Heal not for their effect mainly, which not saying that their effect is not good, but I run it for bringing out one extra deck monster in particular. Also, when he is normal or special summon, you can target one monster your opponent controls. It loses 1000 attack for each Abyss Actor monster you currently control until the end of this turn, which is extremely good for draining your opponent's monster down to 0. And of course, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, and you can target one Abyss Script card, spell card in your graveyard to set that target. So it comes in handy when using it. Now I do run some one ofs, and these 3 are the last of the Abyss Actor lineup. So we have Abyss Actor Extras, Abyss Actor Funky Comedian, and of course Abyss Actor Trent the Understudy. And of course Abyss Actor Trent the Understudy. Extras mainly to set your scale up when you don't have a scale, when you need that extra scale. Funky Comedian mainly for the scale, and sometimes I will use him if I decide not to bring out a card from the extra deck. I will use his Pendulum effect to target one Abyss Actor monster I control and tribute another. Then that one will gain the additional attack of that tributed monster. And of course, Trendy Understudy mainly for the recycling of and of course Trendy Understudy mainly for the recycling effect to bring back Evil Heal if he gets destroyed before I can bring out my extra deck monster, or to bring out any level 1 monster that I need added back to my hand. And that is all for the Abyss Actor lineup. Running into the Odd Eyes lineup um, on the main monster zone, I do run only one DD monster or DD monster, but for the Odd Eyes lineup, we only have one Odd Eyes monster that we run 3 of, and that's Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, mainly to bring out the extra deck fusion monster, and help with overlaying for 7s. Next, of course, the only DD monster that we run and the only tuner of the deck, DD Orthros. Now this card is extremely good. If I were to take effect damage or battle damage, instead of normaling him or pendulum summoning him, just effect special. And of course, I won't be able to summon the rest of this turn except fiend type monsters, so it's a plus for my case because this deck is mainly fiends with a few exceptions. That's it for the monsters. Running on into the spells. For the 3 ofs, we run 3. For the 3 ofs on the Abyss Actor build, we run the 3 Rise of the Abyss King, which is the technical Raigeki. If this card is set, if this set card is destroyed while I control an Abyss Actor monster in my extra deck, I get to add two Abyss Actor, Abyss Actor, and or Abyss scripts with different names from my deck to my hand. Comes in handy. Also, I can have this card set or activated from my hand, wipe, destroy as many monsters as my opponent controls equal to the destroy as many cards on my opponent's on the field, not limiting to my field, but destroy as many cards on the field up to the number of cards that up to the number of Abyss Actor monsters that I control. If I control a level 7 or higher Abyss Actor type monster, my opponent cannot negate, which actually does come in handy when trying to wipe your opponent's board clean. The next three of on the Abyss script lineup is three Abyss script Rise of the Abyss King. Abyss Daemon. Abyss script Abyss Daemon. Now, Abyss Daemon is extremely good because it allows you to tribute an Abyss Actor monster and set an Abyss script directly from your deck back onto the field. You can only use this effect up to twice per turn, which is extremely good when you're trying not to use the extra deck when cut off from the extra deck. But also, the one effect that I love the most is when it is set and your opponent destroys this card and you have an Abyss Actor type monster face up in your extra deck. You get to essentially special summon as many Abyss Actor type monsters as you want from your deck to the field. That is essentially good because you can bring out the two evil heals, as many wild hopes, and so forth as you want, and your opponent cannot really. Well, your opponent can try to negate it, but what's the point? Now, the last Abyss script card we run is, of course, the one Opening Ceremony. We run Opening Ceremony mainly for we don't really use him for his we don't really use it for its life point gaining effect. We usually set it to bluff our opponent into destroying it, because when it's destroyed, if it's set and it's destroyed and I control an Abyss Actor type monster in my extra deck, I get a draw until I have 5. But if I do need the extra life points, I will activate it and I gain 500 life points for each Abyss Actor type monster I control. So that actually comes in handy. Now, for the part that helps me with draw power, the other part that helps me with draw power is the essential card for every dark deck. Whether you're running Raid Raptors, Burning Abyss, Abyss Actors in this sense, DDDs, Layer of Monarchs, it doesn't matter. You require 3 Allure of Darkness. If you don't already know what Allure of Darkness does, it's essentially just draw 2 cards, banish 1 dark monster. If you have no dark monster in your hand to banish, send your entire hand to the graveyard. So yeah, if you actually end up on something you need with this card and you don't have any other dark monsters, you're able to get something out of it. Now, running into the auto to do search, which with Wild Hope, I get to effect. So I will effect, pop my Wild Hope, effective Sky Iris, then effective Wild Hope, Sky Iris, search out an Auto-Eyes monster, effective Wild Hope, search out an Abyss Actor monster. And that helps out tremendously. Now, coming in next is the 2 Odd-Eyes fusions. Mainly the Odd-Eyes fusion. Of course, I know you can only fusion some. Both are dragons, so it really harm us in any way. And then, of course, the last of the spells, we run 2 terraforming mainly to search out the, yeah. Now we only run 2 traps, and I decided to run these 2 traps because I found that this deck was getting a little bit, um, overtaken when it came to my opponents, spamming the field and, like, taking me out, so I decided to run 2 traps, and the 2 traps that I chose was Floodgate Trap Hole and Bottomless Trap Hole. Floodgate Trap Hole mainly to stop their plays. So they try to, like, spam an entire field of level 5 and higher monsters, or any type of monsters necessarily. Effect, change all their monsters face down defense, and they can no longer link or, pendulum if they spammed their entire field, which, hey, it helps me out. And then, of course, Bottomless Trap Hole, mainly to, mainly to, Bottomless Trap Hole mainly to negate their special summons and banish any monsters that are 1500 or higher. But that is it for the main deck. Now, I did want to go in, but that is it for the main deck. Now, I did want to go into the extra deck next, but I decided just right now to go into the side deck because the extra deck is actually it's a bit of a surprise. And hold on. I'm gonna have to ask you guys to excuse me for a couple of seconds because so if I need to bring out my level 1 monsters, Gate Zero will help me out with that and bringing those out. And hey, it actually does live up to its expectations at some given points. Then we run one Sassy Rookie um, in the side deck mainly because of his protection, and of course, if he's destroyed, I get to special summon a level 4 lower Abyss Actor type monster, which actually helps me bring out um, Curtain Raiser a lot faster. Following up, we have a scale 8 Odd Eyes Perform Bound Unicorn. Um, the only reason why I decided to decide her was because of her scale. Nothing else. There's no real reason for her being in this side deck other than that. This one was actually a new one that I got. I decided to decide Perform a Power Hands Major or something like that. I don't even. I feel like I butchered that name. Either way, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can add one level 5 or higher pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Perform Power Hands Major once per turn. Of course, it is going to be a little bit difficult now to destroy an opponent's monster by battle and send it to the graveyard, but this does help you search out your run to Rescue Hamster. Rescue Hamster